here, Haley Stueckler Hoyt, Connor Stueckler. We are, and of course Teresa Jane. We are part of Team Stueckler of Remax 1, coming to you live from North Beach, Maryland. And we are so excited for episode 3 of our Beach House Fixer Upper. Connor,
I'm making my introduction today, episode 3. I'm going to be featured in some of the episodes later with some of the demo, but wanted to introduce myself and also introduce the newest member of Team Stueckler. We got little Brady here. We just got him on Friday. We adopted him from Calvert Animal Welfare League. Oh, right on cue. Just rolls over like that. So, you know, we're happy to have him and happy to be with Team Stueckler.
Today we are doing our environmental testing. It's really important if the house is built prior to 1978, like this one, that you do environmental testing and really make sure that if you have lead in the property, you have asbestos, that things are, you know, that you really encapsulate them. It's not that you can't have them at all, but you want to make sure that if you're doing any renovation, any type of, you know, demolition, that you do understand that you may have hazardous materials and you get it tested and do things properly. So we're going to be introducing you in a minute to someone that's going to help us out with that. So you can come on ahead and let's go in and meet Joyce Walker. By the way, we did have technical difficulties. We actually had a take one earlier today, and we were getting some comments that people were only getting audio. So hopefully you're getting video and audio this time, because this is a really important episode, I think, that people really, you know, should have an understanding of.
There's definitely something that people don't realize that you have to do. You think you're just going to get a house, fix it up a little bit, and then you're going to rent it out, make it an investment property. Yes, I know. But then this is like one of those steps that get overlooked. If it's the house is built before 1978, okay, we are live. So definitely something that you need to know about. So it's cool that you can be here as we're learning more about it.
So let's go meet Joyce Walker. Let's see where Joyce is now. She's been here for probably an hour.
There. She's about halfway done. It takes about 2 hours to do this whole process for our 1,600 square foot.
Well, hello, Joyce.
Hello again.
So yeah, this is take 2. This is Joyce Walker of Safe Watch, and what she does, maybe you can explain a little bit for a second time, what all you do and kind of how important it is for renovations.
Well, basically for residents, before you do any renovations, you want to check for any hazardous materials that you might have in the building, such as asbestos, lead paint. Sometimes people check for mold as well. So you want to be aware of any of these issues before you start doing any demolition or renovation, so that you're not harming anybody, especially yourself, as you do it.
Okay, and so you're going to be testing for...
Today I'm testing for lead paint and any potential asbestos materials you might have in the building. Since you're going to be using this as a rental property, it's required by the state of Maryland that you have a lead test if the house was built before 1978. And then you must give the occupant a copy of that test that's been done. And they can't occupy it if for some reason you have lead paint. That's not a problem, but it has to be in good condition.
Okay, so it's not that you can't have lead paint in a property, or asbestos for that matter.
It's basically informing the tenant that it's there, that you've painted it, that it's in good condition, because it's only a hazard when it becomes airborne or ingested.
Okay, so like peeling paint and
So like this right here would not be, since this is renovation, obviously this is nothing. If that was lead paint, you couldn't say, I couldn't pass that as being good enough for a renter to come in. It must be intact. Even before someone comes in and does a lead test, if I walk in and see that there's peeling, chipping paint, and you're wanting to get an occupant in there, I won't even test if it's a dust wipes. If you have lead paint, then you have to do dust wipes at every occupancy, and you have to give them a test saying that they passed the lead dust wipe test.
Okay. So if a property, so obviously if it's built prior to 1978, the state of Maryland will require it for rental properties.
Yeah.
And even in a property like this, say you go to flip this property, that's what we ultimately do, that's not required at that point. Now that doesn't mean to say if you're going to be doing any renovation, like we are, you definitely want to get, to protect yourself and make sure that a
Any
property.
demo work.
Yeah, any demo work, right, any demolition, and then you would need an abatement
Yeah,
company.
usually for any renovation demolition, whether it's a residence or a commercial building, you always, that's one of the first things you do is look for any potential hazardous materials before you start doing any disturbing of the materials you have.
And do you find, like, since we estimate this home to be around, say, early 1900s, is it more likely the older the property is?
Definitely more likely the older the property is. Usually the later 70s, a lot of people will ask for the XRF test, which is not required if you want to rent a property. You can just do the dust wipes and assume that it has lead paint. And if those pass, then you can go ahead and if everything's in good condition, you can rent the property. The XRF is only if you probably think there's a good chance you don't have lead paint. And if you don't have lead paint, then in the future, you don't ever have to have this test done again. You have the piece of paper for a renter for the future. So you don't
Okay.
have to do that.
Okay, that's really interesting. And so Joyce, when she first came, actually about an hour ago, she did a drawing of both floors, so mapped it all out. Now, what's the purpose of doing all that? You do that every time?
I do it every time just because I have to locate where the windows are. It's also for reference, just so you can correlate the results back to where I took the tests. And you can make sure that I tested all the proper surfaces, and if there's any question about it, you can look at the drawing and see where what I labeled, maybe a bedroom that you might call something else. I will also be testing the exterior. It's always possible that you could have exterior lead but not interior lead, and then you can ask for a waiver to say that, you know, I'm renting the property, but it's only exterior lead, but it still has to stay in good condition. But the interior could be, you could get an interior lead-free cert.
Okay, and when you first, after you do that drawing, you then also, I noticed, calibrated your gun?
This is a, say, just mentioned earlier, this has a radiation source in it, radioactive source in it, and it's a direct read instrument that has to be calibrated before you use it and after you use it so that it's within range. And I say it's, like I mentioned, it's a very expensive machine, which is why people have to sometimes pay a little bit of money in the beginning. But if you can get an XRF inspection showing that you have no lead paint, then you don't have to pay the cost in the future for rental properties.
And that gun is how much?
Approximately $18,000.
Wow.
And then you have to register it with the state of Maryland, get a license for it, pay fees every year to keep it. And then every couple of years, depending on how much you use it, get a new source put into it, and that's another $6,000 sometimes.
Wow, so $18,000.
Yeah. So I don't want to drop it.
Yeah, no. Okay, so Joyce is going to show us a little bit of how she goes about shooting the walls and...
Yeah, usually what we look for is the walls, any painted surfaces, the door trims, the baseboards, the moldings, the ceilings, cabinets that might have lead paint, so that's what we're doing here. So I can give you an example of shooting the walls.
Perfect. Yeah,
Okay.
let's do that, Joyce.
I can move too.
So on here, I put what the substrate is, which is the wall, and it's drywall. I labeled the front of the house A, and I go around clockwise B, C, D, so I know which side that I'm taking the test on. So let's say I'm testing the front side of the property, that would be A. And the condition of that paint, I would say is, I'm going to say fair, because you are under construction. And then I would put the color, which they don't give me a lot of choices, but I'm going to call that white because it's close enough. And I've already entered that this is the hallway for the front of the house.
Okay.
And then what I do is there is a little window shutter here and a button, you hold it up and it'll beep when it's finished, and it gives me an instantaneous reading.
Okay.
And it says 0.
Oh, awesome.
So I get the reading right away. But I do test all the painted walls and then random windows in different areas. So.
Okay, and then these...
All right, we're back.
I'm okay. All right, we're back live?
Yeah.
Okay,
Right.
awesome.
Having a tough day today with our...
Internet connection.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with that. It's a beautiful day.
We gotta get Wi-Fi first thing in this house.
Yeah, exactly. I think so. In fact, I think Comcast left a notice here that we need to call them. But yeah, so that would help, definitely. So be sure, if you like what we're doing, have questions, please comment, share it. If you're into renovations, into any kind of home remodeling,
Okay, good.
Oh, live again? Okay. All right, we're going to wrap this up. So if you have any questions for Joyce or would like to use her company to get your home environmentally tested, we're going to leave her information in the description box below.
And we'll see you next time. We're going to be starting the demolition here very soon. I think possibly tomorrow.
I think tomorrow,
Yeah, so
yeah.
if you like the Team Stueckler page, you will get notified when we're going live. And if you're at work right now and can't watch us, then be sure to check out the video later and feel free to comment and contact us if you have any questions at all. See you soon.
Bye.